welcome to this webinar with Blue Ninja Business Support, and our webinar today is regarding building relationships with leads and customers through tools and software. A bit about Blue Ninja. So we're an innovative company based in the Netherlands, working internationally with English-speaking businesses to apply best practice to virtual business management. Our mission is to help businesses reach their growth and profit potential while simplifying their working lives. Using our expertise, we deliver bespoke services and aim to streamline your operations and improve time-consuming tasks to optimize your working practices.
So the aim of this presentation is to address the following topics, which we'll cover today: building relationships, which is the backbone of business, an introduction to CRMs, customer relationship management tools, using good data habits from the start. At any time of a business, it's great to have good data habits, but it's optimal to set them up when you're first beginning. How to develop tools and grow your business opportunities, and some tips on what to look for when choosing your own CRM. So let's get started.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Louisa Stewart. She is an award-winning virtual assistant, a problem-solving ninja, and a CRM implementation asset.
And I'd like to introduce Julie Taylor. Julie is a project management professional. She's a people connector, and she's a business data ninja.
So why build business relationships? It's a fundamental of business that you need people to buy from you, give you money in order to have a business. This is at the heart of your business. Even if you're not in it for the money, you need money to run a business, of course. So businesses are not overnight successes. Businesses take time to grow. Business unicorns are not normal. We need to know that. We've got some names that I think you might have heard of. So let's go through the list we have of inspirational people that we know. So there's Jeff Bezos, Tony Robbins, Oprah. Do we need to say her last name? Oprah. Melanie Perkins, Ben Francis, Jack Ma. Have you come across these names? Do you know these people? So I bet you know the brand that they present and what makes them such successful business people. We're going to come back to those in a minute. A support network will help you build your business. It may not necessarily be your family or friends. It could be a coach, a mentor, someone who bought from you and became a super fan. Which leads us to say you want to grow your supporters and champions. Who tells others about your business without you prompting? Look after those people. They're your supporters. We give gifts each year to people who help us, and we repay them by talking about their business. Treat them well, look after those people. You also want to protect your reputation as a business owner and human being for that matter. Although a bad reputation can sometimes work for people, such as a band or Elon Musk, for the majority of people, it will be a good work ethic, a kind approach, and a willingness to take risks that the business reputation is built upon. Go back to your why. Why are you in business? What's your story? Are people buying you or your brand? Are those two things different, or are they the same? That's very important when thinking about how you build your networks and relationships.
So we gave you a list of names. I want to talk through them and talk a bit more about their brand and a little bit about their background. So the first one I'm going to mention is Gymshark. So Ben Francis, it was a young 20-something in the UK when he first started Gymshark. It was a screen printing business operation in a garage and has turned into one of the fastest growing and most recognizable brands in fitness. And the Gymshark vision, which I really love, is before there is action, there is an idea. I hadn't come across Gymshark until I think last year, Julie. Had you heard of them before?
No, I think he was all over the news last year. He did amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, for his age, I mean, he taught himself how to sew. So his story really was about ambition and an idea that he really wanted to create a recognizable and extremely well-made brand of sportswear. And it just grew and grew because people loved the brand and what he was representing. So the next one I'm going to cover is Canva. So Melanie Perkins, who started Canva, is Australian. Hooray! Her story was incredible. So I think it was her and her partner had an idea. So she went to the USA to build investment for yearbooks. That was the original business idea, which was to build software that would help schools build their yearbooks online. Great idea. She got investment in the USA, and through developing the software, it morphed into Canva, which is now valued at over $3.2 billion. So she capitalized on angel investors and proved a very strong business plan and a clear strategy go a long way. So you can imagine changing your direction from one concept to another. And I think they did it within maybe the space of 18 months. But I remember reading an article about Melanie. It's well worth having a look for some of the stories about what they were trying to achieve. And she was about to leave the USA and go back to Australia. And there was a business meeting that someone had set up for her. And she changed her flights to go to that business meeting. And I think that was with one of the, what's the equivalent of Dragon's Den in the US? Anyway, it was one of those huge guys that invest in very specific business ideas. And the meeting was with him, and the rest is history for her. I mean, we love Canva, don't we? We use it now for a lot of our business work.
Even I can manage to use it. I'm not techie, but yeah, it's cool, easy to use.
And I think with Canva, initially I wasn't so fussed on it, but they really invested a lot in the user journey, and it sold me. We went back to it last year from using another product, and we haven't looked back. Alibaba, Jack Ma has an incredible story. Alibaba was founded in 1999 by a former English teacher, Jack Ma, and it's an online marketplace in China, so essentially the Amazon of China. He's an entrepreneur, investor, and philanthropist, and he had very humble beginnings, and he worked very hard to learn and succeed. From a story I was reading, he actually learned English because he heard the US president was coming to China, to the town that he lived in, and he wanted to say hello and to greet the president. So it was a lovely story. You know, he didn't let continual failure and rejection dampen his enthusiasm. And I think he's one of the richest men in the world now, definitely the richest in China, all from his drive to succeed. There's a lot of stories like this, aren't there, Julie, from entrepreneurs who just have that absolute drive to keep going.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah. So Oprah Winfrey, Oprah, our household name. She was born into a poor household and began her TV career as a local news anchor. She's an American TV personality, actress, and entrepreneur. So she formed Harpo Productions in 1986 and became highly successful businesswoman with the launch of O, the Oprah magazine in 2000. And I think Oprah was very good at diversifying her knowledge and what she enjoyed. So she took sort of the book club. So she had a private book club, and it was so popular, and she expanded it. And now it's an extremely impactful way of promoting books and authors that she enjoys. And often, if you're on the Oprah Book Club, you're probably one of the top listed books across America at that time. So very, very impactful, and the power that Oprah has, because small ideas with a lot of enthusiasm and very marketable execution of those ideas. Have you read any of her book club books, Julie?
Will have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will have done, definitely.
The power of a sticker, like a sticker on a book.
Thinking of Richard and Judy from the UK, they do really well as well. Any of those books they recommend, yeah.
Yeah. Tony Robbins I put on here because his is a personal brand. We're mentioning all these because what we want you to do is think about how they interact with the customers and how they engage, and their background and their story and their drive, their why impacts their delivery and their successes. So Tony Robbins is an author, coach, speaker, and philanthropist, and he's built up his personal brand of tonyrobbins.com to share his thoughts on leadership psychology. Tony can fill a stadium full of people interested in his message and build the room into an absolute frenzy of positivity, excitement, and energy. I'm not a huge fan of Tony Robbins, I must say. How are you with him, Julie?
I've only found out about him through you, so yeah, it might be a bit of some people and maybe not for others.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed, and I guess this was a little off-putting for me, was the strategic marketing that they have behind his brand is a lot of email marketing. So I'd signed up to something that they were running last year through him, and every maybe 2 days I would get like a little email message, etc. But it was over the space of 3 months. So you can imagine how many emails I got promoting this event and Tony Robbins and, join our Facebook group. Well, there were like 50,000 people on the Facebook group, and it was just all crazy. So I think he does very well, and we use him a lot for our quotes of the day, which we run on Fridays. But I think his message is different to what I like, but he still has that power and impact that drives a business person forward.
Okay, so how can you build relationships? You can build relationships by the following means. So networking and meeting people both in person and online. So don't discount an opportunity because you don't think it fits your business. You'd be really surprised about what opportunities can come from that. Having a professional website. This will help professionalize your business and help people to take you seriously. A website is a high value tool for businesses and should not be an afterthought. If you don't put any effort into your website, that will show. So give it the attention it deserves. Promote your business on social media using the right platform where your audience is. So there's also offline marketing, things like business cards, flyers, etc. These are not gone away just because we do a lot of more promotion online. It obviously depends on the type of business you have. Word of mouth. This is how Blue Ninja gets a lot of our business. It's the best recommendation. I ask for recommendations, so if people recommend us, that's just amazing. So then there's direct contacts such as emails, newsletters, phone calls. You'll notice that those that are genuine. So as Louisa said, you can feel a little bit overwhelmed. You think, oh, this is interesting, sign up for something, and then you just feel like email overload, and it just can be quite off-putting. So just balance that for your audience. Set up your automation and target people that you think will be interested. But what do you do with all this information?
Ah, yes, what indeed. So one of our topics of the year, we love talking about CRMs. So CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, and it's a software tool that helps you manage relationships for your business with your clients or customers. Also leads. Don't forget about your leads. They're very important. You have a lot of leads that come in, and those then trickle down and convert into clients or customers. So we wrote a blog about this, and we'll try to get that into the chat if we can. So, and CRM is also the term to define the software that stores information about contacts and helps you define the interest in your business. So you may have previously used an Excel, or you still are using an Excel spreadsheet to track your contacts, and there's nothing wrong when using that, but a CRM will up your game. Complex CRMs develop a customer profile and use that to target the customer with specific communications. So there is no one CRM that fits all. You need to know what you want the CRM to do and then think ahead. And changing CRMs is not easy, as Julie and I can speak from experience. A client changed their CRM 3 times and they lost so much good data as a result. They were using incompatible products and manually moving data from one system to another. It was a mess. A CRM that's not regularly updated is almost as useless to a business. It's the same as a business plan that sits in a drawer and never gets looked at. What is the point in investing in something that you will not use? Make a CRM a part of your business team, because that's really what it is. So what CRMs are out there? There are hundreds and possibly thousands of CRMs out there, and they all have a variety of requirements. So the purple ones that we have on this slide are the CRMs that we've used before and familiar with. ActiveCampaign is our Blue Ninja CRM of choice because of its usability and functionality, but we've recommended others based on the needs of the client. Some of the free or cheaper options don't have the usability that you need. So be careful that you invest time in the product, working out what you need, and then make sure that it does have the functionality that you want and need. It's also worth checking out the costs associated with the growth of your business. So if you wish to set up a CRM and are looking to grow maybe 20,000 contacts, your costs will be in the thousands. So you need to plan and budget according to your business strategy. Also bear in mind that a free tool like HubSpot will provide you with the options to pay for extra modules. But again, your price can jump up considerably as you grow. Julie and I do a lot when we look at CRMs. We do an evaluation of what the CRM offers. We compare that with other CRMs. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on this, Julie, just about our CRM evaluation?
Yeah, so as Louisa said, ActiveCampaign is the one we use, but we're not going to resell. We're going to evaluate what's suitable for people and their business. So it's all about what's usable for yourselves. So it's all about size, frequency of contacting, the sort of functionality that you're going to use it for. So there's some really other amazing tools out there. So or you could end up with something really quite amazing and powerful like Salesforce, which is one that we've been evaluating with a client recently. It's not one we'd used before, very professional, and it's all singing or dancing. So we went through the project evaluation process with them, and that's the one we decided to take. So we're going to get trained up on that and support them with that. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see that one happening.
It is.
A CRM, if you've got one, does it link to your other software and tools? Is it the right one for you? Does it link to your website? Does it do other things? Have you got one that you've paid for? Or is it a free version and that's working fine for you? Do you feel that it's working efficiently? If not, can we help you have a look at that and evaluate, is it the right tool for you? And do you enjoy using it? There's no point having something that's just a pain to use and, it's really clunky.
I think with that one, Julie, the amount of times that we hear that someone's got a CRM and they don't use it because they don't like it.
Yeah.
And then we say, well, why do you have it? Oh, well, we needed something. And it's like, but if you're not using it, it's useless.
Yeah. And, sometimes when you're in larger companies, you get some software you have no choice in. But if you're a business owner, it's your choice. Get the right tools that work for you. And if you don't like it and there's smarter ways of doing it, let's look at that together and we can help you with that. Okay, but you need to sort your data out right from the start. Getting your data in order is critical to developing a good CRM. The things you need to think about is what data do you need to collect? What data should you collect? What data shouldn't you collect? How easy is it for contacts to join and leave? Is your CRM built into your planning? We had a client who had implemented a CRM, which had been running for a year and had been brought in to help them manage their data. We had written a report of their CRM and the CEO phoned up and asked where the phone numbers were. We were never asked to collect the phone numbers. So the answer was no, they're not in the database because it wasn't part of the strategy for building interest for the events. It was never agreed up front. That's what they wanted to collect. It was just things like first name, last name, and email address. So you need to plan for these things. Another client was collecting date of births. We asked them what was the purpose of this, and they had no idea. The less unnecessary data you gather, the more your leads will be interested in connecting. I find it's quite suspicious when somebody asks me for my date of birth when it's not very relevant to the product or service I'm going through. So it does sort of put me off if I don't feel like it's something they need, and you shouldn't be collecting that data if you don't need it. You also need to be very clear on how you will segment your data. We learned this the hard way when we were on a project mentioned before. They were using HubSpot for marketing. They did not have any ability to tag data, so we had to add it in as fields. When we were asked how many people attended events in what years, we had to build up a search algorithm that pulled in every element that needed to identify the end result. They've now moved to ActiveCampaign, where they can easily tag the data, can pull the information out almost instantly. They hadn't thought of it when they chose HubSpot, and the other elements worked perfectly for them, but they'd not asked those questions either and hoped we could fix it for them. So it's things you need to think up front.
So let's talk about how to clean up your data. You need to get rid of data that is wrong, corrupt. If you have fields that have a variation, such as the name having the salutation of Mr. or Doctor, what would you put in a box that just says title? I'd rather put in my business title such as CEO, unless it's above the first name, but I think it's probably a salutation field. But clarity helps your data to be much better. Don't just assume people will understand what you're asking for. And that's very common, by the way. Many CRMs will have a function that will allow you to delete records that have not engaged with, of people that have engaged with you, mainly if it has marketing elements. You may also be paying for people that have never become customers. Just because you have 800 leads doesn't translate to 800 customers. This is also true of social media. So appoint someone in your team to be responsible for your data, and then have them check it every month, 3 months, 6 months for non-engagement. You could download a copy of your CRM into a CSV file or Excel just in case, but don't keep them in the system that you could be paying for a cold lead to be. Also with spreadsheets, your spreadsheet can become very unmanageable if you have so much information in there and most of it's not used. If your business is about social media, you want to find those people who are specifically interested in, say, LinkedIn posts. How did you find them in your data? You can segment and define what people are clicking on, or if they were pulled into your CRM for a LinkedIn post and you have linked your CRM to your social media, they should be tagged in some way. That way, if you want to see what people are interested in your business and where they've come from, you can run a report that tells you the numbers and the tags and segments that you've set up. Make sure you're measuring and evaluating your data. There should be some way of reporting, and many CRMs will charge extra for detailed reporting. So it's an element that you probably want to evaluate up front of what data they will give you and what information you actually need. Same with any tools and software. Check what information it's going to give you. A lot of them, that's where they make their money, because they want to charge you extra for that information.
Okay, so choosing a tool that works for you. So if you work through these questions and see if you can answer each of these. So what information do you need to collect? Where will your data be gathered from? And how are you going to use it? Are you going to use it for marketing, email, tracking, lead generation? You need to think about all these points. How much are you going to communicate with your list? What does it need to work with? Is it your website, social media, email system? What level of ease does it need to have for your team to use it? Think of the least technical person of your team. Right past me, see if I can manage it.
So we've been beating the drum about ActiveCampaign because we know the tool is very good. So we're just going to quickly run through why we chose the tool we did. And again, think of the tools that you need and want to use and evaluate them. Set up criteria for what you're going to evaluate them and compare them against other tools. So ActiveCampaign for us is a tool that gives you email marketing automation, and CRM tools that create an incredible customer experience. So we bought ActiveCampaign after a year of discussing what we wanted to do. Did we want to buy something? Did we want to keep up with the free options that we were using? We were evaluating why we were going to use a CRM, and we did it for quite a while. You don't have to make a decision in a day. Take time to look through, and maybe the timing's not right as well. So we found flexibility in ActiveCampaign for its emailing, setting up automations and forms, as well as linking it to our website. And that was really valuable to us. We recommend it because it's a great product. We're a small 2-person business, and we compared so many factors when we were evaluating what we were going to get. We only want to do this once. And because we talk a lot about automation, we also want a tool that had the power of automation in it. And this is what this tool does. There are elements that it doesn't do as well as other CRMs, and we've evaluated those, but the pros far outweigh the cons. And we did a pros and cons list, so we recommend that as well when you're comparing tools and software. We got used to assuming that all software does exactly the same thing. And that needs to be addressed, because when you assess your software, you need to be aware of what its limitations are as well. And you really need to compare. So MailChimp, for instance, we were comparing the difference between MailChimp and ActiveCampaign. What are the strengths of both? Because they're very powerful systems. But we know with MailChimp that as you grow, so if you grow 5, 10, 15,000 contacts, your cost will go up exponentially. That ActiveCampaign that actually has the costs of emailing built into the costs per year. So those elements are really important to factor in when you're evaluating the tools and systems that you want to use. And so if you want a great CRM, here's some tips that I've got to help you. Automate as much as you can. Software and tools are very clever now. So we created a QR code to use, and you'll see it at the end of the presentation. It's simple to do. We can put that on our email system, signature, on the website, social media, and suddenly people can easily scan our QR code to get in touch with us. You'll see it more and more. So explore the tools you've already got as well to see what they do. We found the QR code because someone else had posted something about a WhatsApp QR code. And when we started to explore it, we realized the power of QR. Of course, with people unable to use cash so much at the moment during the pandemic, there were a lot more QR codes popping up in shops now. So, it's using the opportunities that present themselves with these tools. We've automated a lot of our clients' business, which feeds contacts from the website into the CRM. It then sends emails according to how they're tagged. So it means that our client can have multiple reasons for emailing out. So they're all coming for different reasons, and the messaging's going out according to what the audience wants. So I kind of been doing it manually before. So there was a lot of time saved as a result of this. Don't be afraid to test the system to breaking point. And we love testing systems to breaking point and then phoning up the company and saying, right, it didn't do this. Why didn't it do that? They get very frustrated with me, I can tell you. But most will happily have a call with you to demonstrate the software. Take up any demo calls you can get, make a list of things that you need the software to do, and then ask them those questions. I know that people tend to say, here's our documentation to help support you. But I find that asking them directly, it might spark other questions that you need to know about. Whereas when you read it through, it doesn't always have the same impact. Driving CRM companies mad is, I think, one of my skill sets. And I'll often ask them questions they actually don't know. So they'll go and find that out. It's also helpful to see how quickly they respond to requests. And it gives you peace of mind that you've done your research and you've tested the software to see if it will give you what you need or not. So we mentioned before, think of your CRM as part of the team and your team who will work with it. You need to make sure that everyone's on board with what your decisions are in terms of your tools and software. If you start to restrict who gets to use it, you're going to run into problems down the line. But at the same time, make sure you set controls for what people can do within your CRM. Don't give full access to the team until they've been trained. You will hear the words, I didn't know I could delete that at some point. So be warned. Use your CRM intelligently. Don't try to do more than you need to do. HubSpot have this wonderful feature called scoring systems. Used well, it can show you your biggest fans. Used poorly, you'll end up with data that you have no idea what it means. That is, again, speaking from experience. Expensive doesn't necessarily mean effective, and there are often highly customizable and complex software. When you start to collect banking information, you must have a highly secure software. If you're collecting it through your website, make sure that you've got robust security at the back of the website to stop hacking, malware, etc. Our website shut down last week because a tiny bit of code got embedded on a piece of software I thought was trustworthy. You never know when it's going to happen, so just be very aware with that. I've now got a tool that emails me whenever there's any activity that looks a little different than normal. If you're going to collect people's information, please be responsible with it. Apply GDPR or a relevant data policy that protects people. Make sure you know what the software works with. Look at the list of apps that it's compatible with. I'll often do this first before considering a new piece of software, as if it's compatible, chances are it'll automate more for you. Have you heard of Zapier? If not, check it out. It's amazing for linking different tools and software together. There's another tool called automate.io. I prefer it because visually it's a little bit easier to understand than Zapier, but those automation tools can do a lot for you. Again, you may have to pay, but they'll have free options. So have a look and test them out and see what they do. Things like pulling an email from your Outlook and putting it somewhere else, they can do that now. Think of your data as your biggest asset to business, because it is. We know when we attend a conference and we get details, they share it with sponsors. And that's all right. I don't mind if a sponsor emails because they say, oh, you attended this event. That's fine. But it's when I get random emails that have very little or nothing to do with the business, I wonder where my data was shared. Probably know the emails when someone contacts you and says, oh, let's see if your website can be optimized. We're a website company. We can build a fantastic website. And it's like, well, that's what we do as well. So they're not looking at who you are as a business. They're looking at you as a number. And it's like, can we get that lead to buy something? So I think data, when worked with well, will have a high impact to your company. And the tools and software that you use will help you to manage that.
Okay, to summarize, There's lots of different types of tools and software out there. Take your time, evaluate and choose well. CRMs are a great way to build relationships with your leads and customers. Automate as much as possible, just take that admin overhead away. Bad data is effectively useless, just beware of it and just cleanse your data. Don't just chuck your data in a brand new lovely system. Just take your time and do the job properly. Measure and evaluate your data and make a CRM work for you as part of your team.
Now the good bit.
This is the good bit. So we've launched a course to provide our tips and tricks for starting a business in the Netherlands. We're non-Dutch speaking, we're non-Dutch reading, and we've pulled it all together in one course. Here it is. Yeah.
Want to start a company in the Netherlands and don't know where to start?
Welcome to Tips and Tricks for Starting Your Business. Throughout this course, we'll be diving into starting your business in the Netherlands, including registering, setting up your business essentials, finding support and hitting the ground running.
We'll help you navigate the terminology, how to deal with finding information on Dutch websites, and much more. The process isn't difficult if you know what you're doing, but it can be a real hurdle to start with if you're unsure what to do. We know, we've been there. Our perspective is from native English speakers who do not speak or read Dutch.
It can be confusing to go through all different terms like ZZP, VOF, BV, etc. But don't worry, we'll explain it in simple terms so that you can make the right decision for you.
Our company started as a sole trader and changed to a partnership. Even though we kept the same business name, we needed to make sure that we updated the Chamber of Commerce, or the KVK, correctly on the changes.
We had to work out how to find an accountant. What legal documentation did we need to start? How would we fund our business? What was the most important thing to do first? There are a lot of questions we worked through to get our business up and running.
There is a lot of information already in the public domain, so you may be wondering, why should I invest in this course? Well, this is the course that we wish we had when we set up our business. We've been there and done that and pulled all the information into one place.
We'll help you navigate through to find out what's most helpful in order to get you moving forward on your business journey.
Thanks very much for joining our webinar. If you'd like to get in touch, our contact details are up on the screen and you can see our little QR code there in the corner. And we wish you all the best in building your relationships with leads and customers through tools and software. Good luck.